What's going on, child? It's your most favorite diabetic YouTuber in the whole entire world, back with another video, another day to the actual for y'all. But of course, this one's a little bit different now. This one's only a little bit different because I figured I'd start reacting to this ish. I was watching it just in general, so I figured why not just react to it. But of course, you know, this is the Diddy trial. All right, now it's not actually like performed or anything, so you know it's like all tweets and you know of what is actually going on. And basically Cuff Boys, he covers this ish so perfect. The whole what is that, YSL trial, just every trial is damn near is perfect. Like I remember reacting to, not even reacting, watching his videos when he reacted with his mom when I was in middle school. Yeah, so the fact that he makes videos like this is crazy. But this is day 20, and apparently the defense is going at Jane. Now, I don't know for sure this is the Jane that is allegedly 50 Cent's baby mom, but this shit is going to be interesting. Now, I really don't have no opinion. Of course, these women were victimized, in my opinion. Now, not to a full degree. I will say, like, a little bit. It was their choice, but for the most part, yeah, that he was definitely being grimy, nasty, and abusive, and way more worse shit, allegedly, as of now, from what I could tell. So, you know, I really don't have no other opinions on this, but with that said, let's figure out what is actually going on. Before getting further, shout out to Cup Boys for video react to, and of course, this is all allegedly, and I will admit to y'all that I am going to be brutally honest. I am a little bit of arsehole, and, you know, I am going to make my jokes, but if it was hate, beef, or anything crazy like that, I straight up admit it. But I will say it is all love, no hate. I messed that up. I was supposed to say that first and then get into my spiel, but yeah, but all love, no hate. All right, child, no more hesitations. Let's get into the video now.
Was wild. Diddy's defense lawyer cross-examines Jane and tries to switch the narrative to everything being consensual. During cross-study, Diddy's lawyers point out a lot of text messages from Jane to Diddy. They're trying to hammer home that she wanted all this. She wanted to do this with these male escorts. I already see the comments now. Some people are like, how is Diddy supposed to read her mind? I've seen them already everywhere. She just keeps saying she was doing it to make him happy, but she didn't want to do any of it. Very interesting. Hit subscribe. Let's go. All right, before the jury comes in, Combs' lawyer says, Ms. Bongolan said clearly the balcony incident took place on September 26th. We believe she perjured herself and that they knew. The government elicited that all the injuries were at the same time. The judge says, couldn't we just say the government screwed up, giving Miss Westmoreland a rare Perry Mason moment in federal court that the defense back in its war zone could say, great job. Perry Mason moment. She did a great job, but they had Miss Ventura say she saw it. Nizzle?
Damn. We got here with that ad quick. We don't get paid for them, but alright, yeah, we already getting to the bullshit.
Not sure why the government says it's the third. Perjury is only one prong of a 4-part test. This happened years ago. Miss Bongo was taking a lot of drugs. Thank God she's sober. Mr. Steele also moved for a mistrial. Well, he said he was going to move. He objected juror 6 being stricken. It's under seal. So it sounds like it was pretty close to a mistrial this morning. Alright, Jane's testifying. Jury's coming in. Miss Garages is proceeding with cross. Jane, we met before, right? Then you stopped the meeting with the defense. That was your choice, right? Correct. You're testifying against Mr. Combs. I'm testifying against him, question mark? How many times did they prep you on how to be cross-examined at this trial? Maybe 2 or 3 times. Did you bring in other prosecutors across you? Yes. And they granted you immunity at the grand jury, right? Yes. You said you had regret about some of the choices you made with Mr. Combs. If you have it, I'd love to look at it with you. You choose to participate in the lifestyle for many years. And you did not want to break up with him, right? I did not want to. Sex with other men for years. I resent the emotional control. I was hooked from the start. There was pressure to perform these acts my lover desired. You used another word partner again and again on direct. He was your partner? Yes. You said you were having trouble answering for yourself when you had sex with these men? Yes. You're in therapy right now? Yes. You love Mr. Combs? I'd love to spend time with my partner. You wanted to cuddle with him? To give him foot rubs, you said. Objection to counsel making herself a witness. I love to bathe him when we watch his favorite show. Which show was that? Dateline. Did you believe he was not doing this with anyone else during this time period? You look at his messages? Yes. He was vulnerable in those hotel rooms and I shared that with him. It was conflicting. I was breaking all my boundaries so that he would feel loved. This brought you two together? Yes, the love making afterward. That's why I enjoyed it. You tried to be very sexy to him in these rooms? I think I was sexy in those rooms. Because you're a beautiful woman, did you choose that wardrobe? Initially, he did. He liked baby oil. It turned him on? Yes. So the defense is trying to paint the picture that they're just a consenting couple. But they're also going to make this lady look like she's a liar, right? I'll read when you started your relationship with Mr. Combs, 35. What are examples of your fantasy talk in these rooms?
I don't think it was full on consent, but yeah, to a degree maybe.
That Sean left town. What? Why would he want that? How high were your heels? 6 to 7 inches. Usually I wear the 3 to 4 inch heels. You want your child to be close to your child's father, but did the father see the child? What does that have to do with this? Fence is airing out her other relationship and her child. Would you fly weekly to Miami to see Mr. Combs? Sometimes. We listened to 5 voice notes in which Mr. Combs sounded angry, but he sent you thousands, right? Yes. Why do you feel he was larger than life? Bright light. He introduced me to the gospel. He had a favorite pastor he'd watch on TV. Has that stayed with you? Yes. Do you watch the pastor today? Objection sustained. How much do you invest in your dress line? $20,000. Why do you join OnlyFans? If I could get off it, I would. Financial need. Mr. Combs gave you money throughout the relationship in 3.5 years. Does $150,000 sound right? I would assume. You told the government you gravitate towards providers. Yes, as a woman, I like that. You called the house our house. Later, I saw it as my house. You thought it was important that his staff not know about entertainers, right? Objection overruled. And that's the reason you got the house. That and a yard for your son. Can you say my child? So Inner City Press, the Twitter I've been reading, suddenly stopped tweeting today. So I found another Twitter I think that's in the courtroom. Also, this girl is the mother of 50 Cent's child, by the way. When you met Mr. Combs in 2020, you were earning money as an Instagram influencer, correct? Yes. And you were also receiving $4,700 a month in child support? That's correct. $4,700 a month in child support. Once you were with Mr. Combs, did your influencing work change? Yes, I couldn't focus on him, or I felt like I only reached about 10% of my earning potential during a relationship. When I moved to a new home on April 23rd, I thought if we got a place that meets Sean's taste, maybe we could just start doing the hotel nights here in the privacy of our own home. So you and Mr. Combs wanted to keep these hotel nights private? Yes, it was really important that nothing about the hotel nights got out. We didn't want the public to know, even as employees to know about the entertainers. I'm showing the jury some of your text and audio messages to Combs from March 23, right after the Turks and Caicos trip. You testified earlier that during the trip, he surprised you as an entertainer and a hotel night, which caused an argument. Yes, it really upset me and affected us for a few days. But in these messages you two exchanged afterward, you both sounded affectionate. Mr. Combs told you he loved you. Yes, in a voice note. So just trying to switch the narrative, make her look like a liar about the Turks and Caicos trip. He also mentioned something about a contract. What was that? He was referring to our love contract after we agreed on it. He rented me a home for $10,000 a month. And you recorded a message back to him?
$10,000 a month for what?
I told him I had so much fun on the trip that I loved him and I felt closer to him.
For
you said everything just feels good. I'm so happy. That's right, I did have fun with
crazy.
Him. Wait, but I thought she testified that they had an argument about an entertainer. I was expecting love for the time we spent together, except for the part involving the entertainers. When I moved into my rental home in April 23, Sean paid $40,000 up front to cover the security deposit and rent for first and last month. Holy shit, that's so much money. The landlord already possessed several months of rent payments in case Combs ever decided to stop paying rent, correct? Yes. Did Combs indicate he was also open to paying 3 more months of your rent even though you were about to break up? Yes. Did you ever believe Mr. Combs would stop paying your rent? There were some times that I definitely felt like he would do that, and he used it kind of like a tool. The rent was always just like a little reminder. But yeah, it gives him power over her. It's leverage. Can you confirm the conversation you had with Mr. Combs regarding your financial situation? Yes, he asked me, you need 3 months rent? I told him I was struggling a bit. And what happened after that conversation? I confronted him later about things, and then out of blue, he sent me $20,000. Was this money solicited by you in any way? No, I didn't ask for it. It was completely unsolicited. And how did you use the $20,000 Mr. Combs sent to you? I used it to buy some nice furniture for my place. The court heard you send Mr. Combs a text after receiving the money. Could you describe the message? I texted him to say thank you and called him baby. I was grateful for the help. So to clarify, you expressed gratitude and used an affectionate term, correct? Yes. The court heard a voicemail from Mr. Combs when he referred to you as crack pipe. Can you explain what he meant by that nickname? It was a playful thing from our trip in Turks and Caicos. We had a lot of fun. He gave me that nickname. Why would you want to be called a crack pipe?
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Crack pipe, well, you said you had an addiction to my text. It was mutual, just fun banter. And how did you respond to the voicemail from Mr. Combs? I texted him back something like, crack pipe is so real for the both of us. It's definitely mutual. I just like everything you said. I'm so thankful. I had so much fun. Turks was absolutely incredible. I'm so happy. So your response was positive, expressing gratitude and enthusiasm about the trip and the nickname. Yes, exactly. I was just happy and having fun with it. The trip was amazing. I wanted him to know I appreciated it. To confirm, this exchange was lighthearted and reflected a mutual enjoyment of the trip you spent together. It was all good fun. We were just joking around, enjoying the vibe from the trip. You mentioned things changed when Mr. Combs started to spend time with young Miami. Yes, it became difficult for me about 6 months to a year after we started dating. What made it difficult? Their relationship was very public. They posted about each other all over social media. Meanwhile, mine was very private. How do you make that feel? So she became the side chick? This is insane.
I think
for a side
she
chick
may have been the side chick to begin with, but
I didn't agree to date a man who was in
or alone, who the hell knows?
You testified about a trip to Miami when you're still getting to know Mr. Combs. Can you describe what happened during that trip? Yes, we were in Miami and he bought me a pair of shoes, a Bottega bag, and a bracelet. During this trip, did Mr. Combs discuss his lifestyle with you? Yes, he explained that he led a polyamorous dating lifestyle. And how did you react to that explanation at the time? At first, I didn't mind. We were just getting to know each other, so it wasn't a big deal to you. So it wasn't a big deal then, but your feelings changed over time? Yes, as I developed deeper feelings for him, it became difficult. I was feeling my man and wanted him to be mine. So defense is switched on the narrative that he was upfront that he was going to have multiple girlfriends, and she just became jealous, mad, and now she's a liar. Right? That's what they're doing. You also mentioned there was an imbalance in how she treated you compared to his other girlfriends. Can you elaborate? It wasn't the same as how he treated some of the other women he was seeing. It felt unequal. To clarify, your concerns with that imbalance arose as your emotional attachment to Mr. Combs grew. Let's talk about your first trip to Turks and Caicos. What did you observe about him? On the flight, I noticed his hands were shaky, his eyes and teeth looked off, and his coloring seemed unhealthy. I could tell he wasn't taking very good care of himself. Did you suggest anything to him? Yes, he considered going to a rehab center in Thailand. So you knew early on he was a drug addict. In the beginning, I didn't know how to label it. I just saw someone who was overdoing the partying. But later on, as the relationship went on, I started noticing a very strong pattern. I didn't call it addiction at the time. Now I'd say he was a drug addict. But back then, I thought he was just a really big party guy. Do you know if he was on a prescription medication? Towards the end of our relationship, I found out he was taking antidepressants. And you wanted him off drugs? Yes, I wanted him to return to his natural form. He even told me once he was interested in trying ketamine therapy. Now they go on a break. Would you agree that you willingly participate in the so-called hotel nights? At the time, yes. I felt I had to keep the relationship. But no one forced you to take part, not physically now.
Too many subscriptions? You
That
need
is a
rocket
fact.
money.
Not physically, but at a certain point, emotionally.
It's questionable here for the jurors to start thinking about it. Are you aware that Mr. Combs practiced a polyamorous lifestyle? He told me early on, yes. Yet you chose to stay in the relationship for quite some time. I did. My feelings for him grew deeper. And during that time, he supported you, paid your rent, gave you gifts, covered your expenses. Yes, he did all of that. Would you say he was kind and generous at times? Yes, he could be very generous. So your relationship, though complicated, had moments of affection and mutual agreement. It did, but that doesn't mean it didn't hurt or feel controlling. During the hotel nights, did you and Mr. Combs spend time alone? Yes, we were usually about 30 minutes to an hour alone. Before the entertainer came and sometime afterward too. And how did you feel about the alone time? I enjoyed it, especially when we made love. That part felt intimate. So he gave you the attention you were seeking. Yes, he gave me the affection I wanted during those nights. Was that typical of him? No, he wasn't generally that affectionate. But on those nights, he was the most affectionate. Were red lights and baby oil only used during the hotel nights? No, they weren't exclusive to the nights. Where else were they used? Used them during our other sexual encounters, even in his private residence. Were you aware that hotel nights were being filmed? Yes, and I was okay with it. Mr. Combs told you the videos were just for the two of you? That's what he said. You put on a good show for him in these videos because you knew he would watch them again. Yes. Is it true you enjoyed watching the hotel videos with Mr. Combs? No, I did not like that part, but you still did it? Yes, it was part of the relationship, something I tolerated even though it made me uncomfortable. Let's talk about the hotel nights. What was your understanding of why Mr. Combs wanted them? They were driven by desires I labeled as cuckold, and being turned on by watching his woman have sex with another man. Why did you participate? Out of love, I wanted to please him.
Straight up calling him out, man.
Motivations. You like to call it voyeurism. I use the word cuck for myself. Jesus. She's like, nah, bro, you were a cuck. I mean, which he is. This is the definition of a cuck.
Just admit it.
There may have been some bi-curiosity involved.
He's sitting in that
but too afraid
corner.
to act on it. Did he ever stop a hotel night because you wanted to? Yes, there were times he ended it early when I spoke up and said I wanted to stop. So she says, I mean, Diddy is clearly at least bisexual. Bro was rubbing jizz on his nipples. And if you weren't comfortable with one of the men, he dismissed them, correct? Rarely, only after I already tried to interact with him sexually for some time. But he was responsive when you were uncomfortable? No, not readily. I had to go through the motions first before you consider letting them go. So defense is trying to make it look like she wanted all this. This was all consensual. She's fucking lying. Let's talk about the 2 times you cried.
Not getting that either,
night. Do
though.
you remember that? Yes, it was early in the relationship. I cried.
Not
because Sean
landing
was about to
either,
leave
again.
right after the hotel night. And when you asked him to stay with you, he changed his plans. He stayed to comfort me. The second time you were in the shower together, yes, somewhere in the middle of our relationship, I cried in the shower to another hotel night. Mr. Combs was high on ecstasy at the time. He said he was. He told me, you're going to ruin my high. I said he was too high to see me cry. Let's go to your earlier testimony,
That's
the hotel
fucked up.
nights, or as you call them, freak-offs. Yes, you described these nights as being driven by Mr. Combs, correct? That's right. But there are moments, weren't there, where you had some say in how these things played out. There were a few times I voiced what I wanted or didn't want. Was it entirely without your input? No, not always. Sometimes I was able to speak up, though it didn't always change the outcome. Let's go over the message between you and Christina Coram. These were centered on the times he allegedly asked you to bring drugs to Miami, correct? Yes. Just said earlier that you had a phone conversation with Ms. Coram, during which she told you it was fine to bring the drugs and even instructed you to put them in your checked luggage. Yes. But the message read here today, they don't mention her saying anything like that, do they? No, they don't, but we spoke on the phone. She said it verbally. When Ms. Coram traveled with Mr. Combs, do you know if she flew in his private jet? I assume she did, yes, but I can't say for sure. Would you describe your relationship with her as close? Not at all, we weren't close, she didn't like me. And how did that affect your relationship with Mr. Combs? It made things hard, she was always with him. I believe she had strong opinions about me, and those opinions influenced how Sean treated me. Doge calls for a break for lunch. Jane said Diddy used to call their freak-offs the trifecta. He was Jordan, she was Kobe.
Oh, hell
Male
no.
escort was Shaq.
Oh, no. What?
What?
Where do you
Comparing
get
a
Jordan,
freak-off to
Kobe,
Michael
and
Jordan,
Shaq?
Kobe Bryant and Shaq.
The
is
reference
crazy.
doesn't even make
Some of the
sense to
craziest shit
me.
I've ever heard in my life. I'd like to revisit
But
message
on
from
God,
Halloween.
what the
Do
fuck?
you recall texting Combs that you want to see him? Yes, I do. And he replied that he had a rough day and wanted you to leave tonight. That's correct. You responded by suggesting that the two of you freshen up, have a drink, and see where the night goes. Yes. Did Mr. Combs mention he didn't feel like being around people? He did. And the two of you ended up having what you referred to as a hotel night after these texts. We did. Now, the next day, you texted someone named Sly asking for explicit videos. Is that correct? Yes, I was with him at the time. He asked me to reach out to Sly for those videos. Days later, you texted Sly again, but this time saying I'll organize and ask about a visit. Yes, we were still together trying to plan what we might see Sly. You mentioned earlier that you were pursuing a modeling career. Can you tell the court about that? I did some modeling, yes, mostly commercial work. Thank you. Now I want to turn your attention to the series of text messages. You sent him sexually graphic messages involving yourself, Mr. Combs, and someone you referred to as an entertainer. Yes, because that's what he wanted, that's how he liked to communicate. You both exchanged series of these fantasy messages. Eventually, Mr. Combs asked what you wanted to do. How did you respond? I said I wanted to spend time with my favorite person. After that, did he ask if you wanted to come with an entertainer? Yes. Did you agree to that? I did, because that was the only option I was given, and I wanted to see the one I loved. Jane, I'm not going to read aloud a message you sent to Mr. Combs. I want to sit on your face. You recall sending that? Yes, I do. Can you explain the context of the message? I wonder what that means. As part of sexual exchange, that kind of talk was expected. You also used the water drops emoji several times. What did that emoji suggest? I wonder what that suggested. It was meant to suggest sexual arousal or desire as part of the way we communicated. You described in detail what you would do to the entertainers Mr. Combs hired for these so-called freak-offs. You recall these texts? Yes, I do. Were those your actual desires at the time? No, these were things that wouldn't have occurred to me on my own. Then why send them? Because that's what he wanted to hear. I was giving him options. Trying to please him. It wasn't about what I wanted. It was about keeping his interest. You initiated the exchange, correct? Before I answer, I just want to say, this wasn't who I am naturally. I feel like I had to speak that way. I needed to keep him happy. In 2021, really madly in love and wanted to please him and appease him. So this message, it wasn't about your own desire. No, I was being agreeable. That's what he liked, so I adapted. See, some people are going to be like, so she was consenting to all this. How is Diddy supposed to read her mind and know that she doesn't want to do any of this? I've seen people already commenting that. And that's why I think it's a little tricky for the jury here, but you offered to buy black matrix underwear for Mr. Combs, correct? Yes, to please him. I knew it was something he liked. So you knew that kind of language, that kind of gesture turned him on? Yes, but it wasn't real intimacy. It was just what he expected. Did he offer you one-on-one time? Really, most of the time, the option he gave me was him and Paul. And when you agreed to that, I said yes because I wanted to see him. Meeting with an escort was my only option. I wanted to see my lover. And some of the later messages, you brought up the idea of attending sex parties, correct? Yes. Why do you initiate that? Sean had been telling me about them. He said we should go to one. So this was your idea or his? It was his. I was just giving him options, saying what I thought he wanted to hear. Whatever. I don't know how to pronounce the C name, bro. Yes, he often brought them up. In fact, he reminded me that he wanted to save C name for grand finale. He called it a showstopper, big boom. Game over situation, didn't you? Yes, I was trying to delay it, just making excuses to get out something he was pushing me to do. Let's talk about the voice messages from November 22nd, 2021. Combs told you the last vision we had include Don and Sly, the entertainers you use frequently. That's what he said. You replied suggesting that he wait until after the album dropped. Why? Like I said, I didn't want to go through with it. I thought if I played along and pushed it down the line, he'd drop it. But later you saw on social media that he was with another woman. Yes, he told me he wanted to see me. But there she was, posting with him. And in your text, you expressed frustration. You said he pressured you for hotel vibes with Don and Sly, but spent the time with someone else, someone he bought a Chanel bag for. Exactly, I gave in to things I didn't want with strangers and still didn't get the same care or treatment. Mr. Combs gives you a Van Cleef necklace and Bottega bag, didn't he? Yes, he did. How much do Bottega bags usually cost? How much does my body cost? Miss Jane, please answer the question. Jeez, getting heated there. Again, how much does it run? $1,500 to $5,000 and pay on the bag. And you know how much a Chanel bag costs? No. I'd like a break. We'll take a brief recess. So clearly, the defense is insinuating that she was consenting to having sex with all these dudes and taking the bags and the money, and this was all consensual. You justified earlier that your current home is quite different from where you used to live. Can you remind the court how large your current residence is? 5,300 square feet, much larger than my old apartment, which was 1,400. And one of your businesses that was started with $20,000 investment from Mr. Combs, correct? Yes. And you never asked for a share of profits? No, you didn't. Yeah, earlier you said you weren't able to do anything professionally during your relationship with Mr. Combs. Is that still your position? Yes, had I not dove headstrong in that relationship, I probably would have been a bit more successful in that time frame. Relationship held you back. In many ways, yes. The government also followed under seal, asking the judge to remove juror 6 from the case. Probably because they noticed the jurors' reactions and they know that the juror is going to say not guilty, if I were to guess. The main reason why I think it went well for Diddy today is because Garage just got Jane to admit that there was no physical coercion. She had outright admitted that. All comes down to what the jurors are thinking. Comment down below what you guys think.
I'm just gonna be honest. If it wasn't for Law and Order, I probably wouldn't understand what is really going on here, or at least, you know, somewhat of what is probably actually happening here. But like in the beginning, it sounded like, yeah, she was down, consenting a little bit, but then now he just at that point emotionally brainwashed her, and yeah, she was just doing anything to keep him around. Like, yeah, was there emotional I don't even know. The money, was her money being exchanged, gifts and all that shit? Yeah, but that really don't prove anything. Like, yeah, it does sound wild when you hear some of the things like, oh my god, she did that and she got furniture. Like, oh my god, like you hear that type of shit, you're like, all right, it does sound wild, but at the same time, you got to think about it. Just because somebody's giving you gifts, it really doesn't, you know, mesh up with the stuff that emotionally they're doing to you or all that. But, like, I really don't know what's actually going on. Of course, she could be lying. I really don't know. yeah, we're just gonna have to wait to see how this all plays out. But honestly, it's just, this case just gets wilder and wilder. And like I said, I'm not here to blame the victim. I'm not here to point out fingers. I'm here to just hear the hell what's going on, and eventually make my opinion once it's all said and done. But yeah, this shit is just wild. Like, good guy, like who? I'm just gonna say it, I could not sit in that corner. Just, huh? Like, what the? Oh yeah, that's really all I gotta say, but I do know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Also in the comments, your boy make all kinds of videos, so comment you want to see. And yes, I got a video. Learned this booty kicked in at the last second. But that's all I got for y'all the video. Peace.